Herb Silverman, who is an afterlife member of the Freedom from Religion Foundation and lives in South Carolina, is now going to give us a South Carolina welcome. Herb is Distinguished Professor of Mathematics at the College of Charleston. He founded the Secular Humanists of the Low Country in Charleston, and he's President Emeritus of the Secular Coalition for America, which he founded. Herb is going to tell you how he won a unanimous 1997 decision by the State Supreme Court of South Carolina, striking down the state's religious test requirement to run for office. And he's written a book about it, Candidate Without a Prayer, as well as An Atheist Stranger in a Strange Religious Land. And he'll sign copies after the morning session, all proceeds of which he's generously donating to FFRF. And now I'm going to surprise you, Herb. Come on up. By very belatedly, come on up. Very belatedly naming you our Freethinker of the Year, which is reserved for individuals winning state church lawsuits, and we don't know how we missed giving this to you back in 1997, and it's high time to correct this oversight. So please be our Freethinker of the Year.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy Laurie, for that wonderful introduction. Good morning and welcome to South Carolina. Seeing this large bunch of atheists and humanists meeting in South Carolina would have been quite a scandal back in 1976 when I moved here from Philadelphia to teach mathematics at the College of Charleston. It was my first trip to below the Mason-Dixon line. A bit of a culture shock for me, and I think for South Carolina as well. I'll tell you about my South Carolina Supreme Court victory, but first, here are copies of my book, Candidate Without a Prayer, an autobiography of a Jewish atheist in the Bible Belt. And my other book, An Atheist Stranger in a Strange Religious Land. Thank you. And as copies of both are available for a small donation of $10, with all proceeds going to the Freedom from Religion Foundation, which does such a wonderful job for all of us. After teaching at the College of Charleston for 14 years, I underwent a major life change in 1990 when a colleague pointed out that our South Carolina Constitution prohibits atheists from becoming governor. I knew the U.S. Constitution barred religious tests for public office, so I went to our local ACLU, and a lawyer there told me an atheist would need to mount a legal challenge by running for governor. And he said the very best candidate would be me. Well, I looked around and didn't see any other volunteers, so I agreed to become the candidate without a prayer. I learned that atheist is a very provocative word, and not just in South Carolina. The National Associated Press picked up the story, and the following day I got a call from a very distressed woman in Philadelphia, my mother. I had to admit that the Philadelphia Inquirer was not the best way for my mother to find out that her only child was a candidate for governor and an atheist. She didn't so much mind my being an atheist. The problem for her was going public about it. She always wanted me to appear respectable, but that never quite happened. During my campaign, I heard stereotypical comments that atheists are mean and angry protesters who do nothing but ridicule religion. I wanted to show that we do have a sense of humor. So here are some questions I was asked during my campaign and my answers. What would be the first thing you would do if you were elected governor? Demand a recount. What do you think are your chances of winning the election? Look, I'm an atheist. I'm not a fool. What would make you believe in God? Perhaps if I won the election, it would take that kind of a miracle. What do you think will happen to you when you die? I'm going to medical school, just like my Jewish mother always wanted me to do. I expect to use my body parts to their fullest while I'm alive, but I hope others can make good use of them when I'm dead. Meanwhile, Republican Governor Carroll Campbell said our South Carolina Constitution was fine as it was because our country was founded on godly principles. I was invited onto a number of radio talk shows. Some callers would say things like, as an atheist, I suppose you feel free to go out and rape and murder and do whatever you think you could get away with. My response to such callers would be, with an attitude like that, I hope you continue to believe in a God. I realized they didn't just want to change the South Carolina state constitution. I also wanted to change the hearts and minds of some of my fellow South Carolinians. Governor Campbell knew he would have an easy re-election victory, and he refused to debate the other candidates. But I participated in a number of three-way debates with candidates from the Democratic Party and the American Party. That's the old George Wallace racist party. This included a debate on South Carolina public television. My friends thought I had won that debate, while friends of the other candidates probably thought they had won. But a year later, there was an objective way to determine the winner. Of the three participants in that debate, I was the only one who was not in jail. The American Party candidate was in jail for driving without a license and refusing to get one because it's none of the government's business. The Democratic Party candidate was in jail for more traditional reasons, tax evasion. I did have my day in court, but the judge decided he would only rule on the merits of my case if I won the election. Well, to the surprise of no one, I lost. But I'm an optimistic kind of guy, and I always look for positives in a situation. The best for me personally was I met Sharon Fratipietro. Stand up. And we've been together ever since. We met in church. It was the Unitarian Church, the only church that invited me to speak during my campaign. After living in sin for 10 years, Sharon and I got married in our home on January 1st, 2000 at 12:01 a.m. Sharon wanted me to get dressed up for the occasion, so she got me this tuxedo t-shirt that I'm wearing now. When I lost the election, I blamed Sharon because she had become my campaign manager. Sounds like something Donald Trump would say, except he'd expect people to believe him. While campaigning, I heard from a lot of people who thought they were the only atheists in South Carolina. I took names, and in 1984, I helped form the Secular Humanists of the Low Country. A vibrant community with about 150 members. Many of them are here today. Here's our t-shirts, and the back of our shirts has my favorite pun. And the back of our shirts for those who can't see, it says a non-profit organization. After losing the gubernatorial race, and with politics now in my blood, what to do next? I decided to fulfill my lifelong dream of becoming a notary public, someone who stamps documents. Actually, I learned in 1991 that the South Carolina Constitution prohibits atheists from serving in any public office, and notary public would be the easiest one to challenge. When Governor Campbell rejected my application, I asked why, and he said it's too burdensome to respond to all notary public rejections. In a deposition 3 years later, we learned there were over 33,000 notary acceptances in that time period, and that mine was the only one rejected. As far as I know, I'm the only one in the history of South Carolina to be rejected as a notary public. I won my case in several lower courts, but the state kept appealing it up to the South Carolina Supreme Court. On May 27, 1997, the South Carolina Supreme Court ruled unanimously in my favor, nullifying the anti-atheist clause in the South Carolina Constitution. So finally, I was granted a notary commission. I went to the county clerk's office with Sharon to pick up my notary certificate. We were both really excited. Sharon took pictures of the clerk handing me my notary certificate and of me holding it above my head in triumph. Now, I don't know what your definition of a loser is, but the others in the county clerk's office who knew nothing of my case had quite a chuckle, thinking the high point of this guy's life was becoming a notary public. Incidentally, if you get a copy of one of my books, I'll not only sign it, I'll also be glad to notarize it for you. During my campaign, I learned about several national atheist and humanist organizations, and I joined them all because they were involved with issues I supported. But each was doing its own thing and ignoring like-minded organizations. I wanted to show our strength in numbers and cooperate on issues that affect all secular Americans. So in 2002, I helped form the Secular Coalition for America. Its mission is to increase the visibility of and respect for secular viewpoints and to protect and strengthen the secular character of our government. The Secular Coalition formed as a political advocacy group to allow unlimited lobbying on behalf of secular Americans. We now have 22 national member organizations covering the full spectrum of our movement, including, of course, FFRF. Please check the Secular Coalition website, secular.org. We should always look for common ground with the religious people where we can work together on selected projects. Sometimes that's very difficult, as in the following case. Now, what could I possibly have in common with Jerry Falwell? Well, Jerry Falwell once said that God does not hear the prayers of a Jew. I agree with Jerry Falwell. But for very different reasons. That's my story, and I look forward to meeting many of you and hearing your stories. Thanks for coming, and thanks again to FFRF for meeting here in South Carolina. I'll be signing a copy of my books at the conclusion of the morning session, and we'll be glad to take your comments and questions then. Thank you.
Standing ovation.
Thank you.